It's been recommending videos like how to stop catastrophizing, how to release emotions that are trapped in your body. Fixing to bust out the plaid. He wasn't really on board with that plan, but we'll see what happens. I'm not holding my breath. Anyway, back to the actual project. Hello, and welcome to the Young Folk Knits podcast. This is episode 25. Hello y'all, and welcome to the Young Folk Knits podcast. My name is Casey and I'm the maker here at Young Folk Knits. If you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. And if you're a new viewer, then you are very welcome. This is a channel where I mainly talk about knitting, but I do also chat a little bit about some different crafts that I'm interested in. I also like to share a bit about life here on a small farm in Arkansas, where I live with my husband and children in the foothills of the Ozarks. If you've watched my videos before, then you know that my husband and I are beekeepers, and the bees are very busy right now hitting all those fall flowers. So we're very excited to harvest our fall honey soon. So here in Arkansas, it's still pretty warm, but we've hit that season where it's cool in the morning. Like it might be 45 degrees early morning. And then by the afternoon, it's 80 degrees. So it's hard to dress for those days. You're freezing in the morning, sweating in the afternoon, but I do love the mornings. I get to wear long sleeves and dream about fall. I'm fixing to bust out the plaid. That also means that sweater knitting is in full swing. I've been watching a lot of podcasts. Everybody's showing off their fall and winter sweaters that they're working on, and it just makes me so happy. Everything's very woolly right now and cozy, and I'm just dreaming of those days whenever it's gonna be nice and chilly and I can actually wear the things that I knit. I told my husband that I wish this year we could just not even run the heater. Instead, I'll just knit everybody a bunch of sweaters and socks, and we'll just put those on instead. I hate being hot. I hate running the heater. I have asthma and it just dries the air out, dries my skin out. I hate running the heater. He wasn't really on board with that plan, but we'll see what happens. So yeah, YouTube has been recommending a lot of videos about fall and winter sweater planning. I don't know about y'all, but YouTube recommends some really weird videos for me. Lately, it's been recommending videos like how to stop catastrophizing. I don't know what it thinks I watch or need. I've got that video recommended over and over and over. How to release emotions that are trapped in your body. Royal secrets of the House of Windsor. How Diana confronted Camilla. Actors who were forced to lose extreme weight for roles. I don't know what YouTube thinks I want to watch. Apparently though, it thinks I'm a catastrophizer. I am definitely not a catastrophizer. Is that even a word? I'm not sure. But I am definitely not a catastrophizer. Anyway, I don't have any finished objects today, but I do have a whip parade like none other. So let's talk a little bit about all the things hanging out in my project bags.
Blue dude, blue moon, kinda mysterious, shaded with someone I'm not really into. It's hard to see you when your eyes look dull. Who's gonna save you? Who's gonna make you blue too. That mood, sort of witty and jaded, but let's not talk about you. Your coyote song on a rerun. Are you hound dog tired singing all night long? Who's gonna save you? Who's gonna make you not blue? Not blue. Not blue dude, blue moon, been one or two since I ran into you. Do you need a picture? Well, that gets old. It's hard to take one when your iPhone's full. Who's gonna save you? Who's gonna make you not blue? Not blue. Not blue.
Okay, first up, I will show y'all a shawl that has been languishing for a very long time. I cast this on in February when I knew I would only have a few hours to work on it and then I wouldn't be able to work on it for a while. And I literally have not touched it since February. I love it though. It's just that I've had one test knit after another that's taken up my time and I haven't really been able to devote much knitting time to this project. I wanted to participate in Martina from We Grow Wild's Shall We Shawl knit along, and she said that whips were welcome. So I pulled out my pressed flower shawl, which is a pattern by Amy Christoffers. On Instagram, she is Savory Knitting, I believe. And I fell back in love with it. I never stopped loving it. I just wasn't really able to work on it. So this is a DK weight shawl that is mosaic knitting. So that means that you are working color work, but it's not stranded color work. Each row, you're only carrying one color, and the stitches that would be the other color, instead of holding both yarns and then knitting that color in your contrast color, you're instead just going to slip those stitches, and then on the next row you will knit with the other color those stitches that you have slipped. And I find that this pattern is really easy to get in a groove with. I do have to keep an eye on the pattern, but I think that that's mostly because I haven't worked on this since February. So I think if I worked on this for a full day, I might not even have to look at the pattern. So I was at the point of, I had these two rows here in the center, but yesterday I worked another repeat of the chart. So I worked these two rows here on the outside of the flowers. I'm using yarn from Birch Grove that I got on Etsy, and it is a lovely superwash merino and the colors are beautiful. My favorite thing about the flowers is whenever a red and blue section of the yarn hits right on a flower, like in this one. It just makes me really happy. I really love this. I would love to finish it before the MCAL starts, which is Let's see, I think the mystery knit along starts somewhere around October 6th. I don't know, I may be making that up. I think that's when it starts. I'll have to look again, but I would love to finish this by then. I'm not holding my breath because of a couple of other things that I'm working on. But yes, I mean, I'm enjoying this so much. I would theoretically love to make another one. I would love to make one in the yarn that Stacy from Stress Knits is making hers in. I would use a different contrast color, but I love the main color that she's using for her shawl. And I've never been able to get one from her updates, but one of these days. But yes, I always say I want to knit another of something, and it's very rare that I do. Green is my favorite color though, so I think I'm going to really love having this when it's finished. So the next thing I'm working on, you may have seen on Instagram, but this is a test knit that I joined last minute last week. So I have only split for the sleeves, but it is fabulous. Sari Nordland is absolutely one of my favorite designers. I think she's genius. I love everything she makes. It's classic and beautiful. Oh, there's a chicken fight going on. Anyway, I had totally missed this sweater that she has posted previews of. So I saw in her stories though that she was asking for test knitters, and I had just almost missed it, but I got in touch with her and she said that I could test knit the size 6. So I probably would have made the size 5, but since she was really needing somebody on the size 6, I thought, well, I will make the size 6 because I have in mind a oversized but not super long. When I say cropped, I don't mean like a crop top cropped. I would like it to hit me right below my natural waist because I think it would be really fun to have a loose cabled sweater in a neutral gray color that I can wear with my rust linen pants that I wear every day. And maybe even like tuck the front into the linen pants a little bit. And I would love it to be flowy. I may be asking too much of a cabled sweater. I don't know. Those are my dreams. So I am testing the Aurelia pullover by Sari Nordland. And when I say it's all over cables, I mean every inch of this baby is cables. The front, the sleeves, and the back. It has these beautiful baubles. I just think it's absolutely beautiful. So I have just split for the sleeves, and I have gone back and picked up my stitches on the neckline, and it does have a bit of a wide neck, but you're going to pick up your stitches and then decrease immediately, and it pulls that neckline in. It's a folded collar, so I think that's going to be really pretty, but I did not work on this at all yesterday. I just kind of felt like I wanted a bit of a break. I absolutely love cables. If I could work on color work or cables, I think I would pick cables. Anyway, I love cables, but my hands needed a bit of a break after this, which I pretty much solely worked on just to try to get done what I needed to. The test is due October 12th, and I needed to have finished the raglan increases, split for the sleeves, and do one sleeve. So all I need to do is do one sleeve by October 12th, which is no problem. But I do want to do my neck because that will affect the fit of the sweater. And I will probably do the neck, one sleeve, and then work on my length. I have these little needle stoppers on here from Denim Rain. I love everything she makes. She pours her own buttons and makes resin buttons that she paints. Are absolutely gorgeous. I'll put a picture on here of some that I got recently. And I got some very cute stitch markers from her, or not stitch markers, needle stoppers. I got some really cute needle stoppers from her last update, which I'm not sure where they are. So yeah, I have put a lot of work into this sweater, and now I'm worried that the size 6 might be too big, because one thing I've noticed that with cables, it's hard for me to tell before I block it how it's gonna fit. You really need to open cables up. It's almost like ribbing. It squishes together so much that it's in my experience, my final blocked product is so different than my work in progress that it's just really hard for me to tell on fit. I'm absolutely terrified that I'm gonna knit this whole sweater, all of these cables, my hands are gonna fall off, and then it's not gonna fit me right. Is that even a word? I'm not sure, but I am definitely not a catastrophizer. I don't know, we'll see. But I'm going to plug on because this is a test knit. And I do absolutely love it. I mean, I absolutely love it. Honestly, I feel like this is one of the prettiest things I've ever knit. So yeah, I'm knitting this out of the Fiber Company yarn. It is their Lure base, and it's a DK weight, 100% Kent lamb's wool, sourced and produced in England. And it does bloom really well. I can say that because of my swatch. So it's 273 yards for 100 grams. And this is the color Caring. So I've had quite a few friends that have knit with this, and they've all said things like it was really rustic or it felt like straw. And I think it must be different colors, because this does not feel like straw at all to me, and I'm usually very itchy. It also, like, it is a rustic yarn, but it's not bad. It doesn't bother me at all, and I think after I block it, it's going to be even better. So I think it might be one of those things like the linen quill and the Newton. It seems like different shades have different rustic levels. I'm not sure, but this one doesn't bother me. This is the Caring shade, and I really like it. It is very rustic, very woolly, but not in a over-the-top itchy kind of way. And Becky from A Hand Knit Letter, she doesn't like itch a lot either, and she said that it didn't bother her at all. I don't know. This shade is the only shade I've used. This was the only yarn I had enough of in stash. I had a few different DK yarns that I pulled them all out trying to decide what I wanted to make it with, and this is the only one I had enough yardage for. What's funny is I actually bought this yarn last year because I wanted to make a pattern by Sari, Nordland, which was the Sawyer pullover. I really liked that pattern. So Rachel Kurihara, she tested that pattern, and I absolutely loved her version. It was in a color very similar to this. And so I bought this to make that, and I never did. So I thought that works out pretty good. Another cabled sweater by Sari is what this yarn is going for. I think it helps too that I do not use a cable needle. This yarn is amazing for cabling without a cable needle. Your stitches don't go anywhere. I think that sock yarn, like I've tried to cable without a cable needle on socks multiple times, and if you're using some really silky sock yarn, for me anyway, it's just, I do not enjoy doing that at all. I really would prefer to have a cable needle for that. But any other time, if at all possible, I do not cable with a cable needle, and I find that it goes much faster for me. But everybody has their own process, and if you're used to cabling with a cable needle and you've got that down really smoothly, then it might be faster for you to cable with a cable needle. I don't know, but it might be worth a try. You may never go back once you try it. Okay, my next project that you have seen many times is my Alpine Glow sweater by Andrea Mowry. So there's a knit along for this, and I think that the deadline for that is like October 16th, something like that. There's so many October dates that I'm trying to keep straight. It's just swirling around in my mind. But since I have shown you all this last, I did split for the sleeves, and I have been working on the body. This actually would go very quickly if I would devote a little bit of time to it, but I have basically totally put this aside. I'll do like 10 rows a day. One repeat from the color work to the next color work row is like 10 rows. So if I sit down and work on it, that's all I usually get done, and then I'll pick back up my test knit and work on that. But I'm really loving it so far. I'm very excited to finish this. I think that this is going to be something that will be really fun to me to wear. And I'm really excited because the sleeves have this exact detail on the bottom. So I want to get a sleeve done and see how that looks. But I would love to finish this by October 16th. I am using Quince & Co yarn as my main color here and here, and then I'm using Farmer's Daughter Fibers Sari on this accent red, and then I'm using Spin Cycle Mississippi Marsala dyed in the wool for my contrast throughout the body. And I'm really happy with it. This has actually been a very enjoyable knit. I think I could have definitely finished it by now if I hadn't started my other test knit, but I'm enjoying working on both of them actually. So right before I joined the Aurelia test knit, hydrate, I cast on a vest that I have been drooling over for the last couple of months. And I wanted really badly to try the yarn that they have suggested for the pattern that the sample was knit out of, but I was really good and pulled out some Barocco Ultra Alpaca that I have in this lovely green color. And then I set it aside and I haven't worked on it since I cast on for the Sari Nordland test knit. But this is the beginnings of a Ribblesdale vest, which I am holding in this adorable Madder Root bag. How cute is this? It has bees. I couldn't resist the bees. But I had asked a question about what would be a good bag to walk and knit with. Someone recommended Madder Root. So I looked them up and I wasn't sure how I would walk and knit with it, but I saw the bees and I'm like, okay, that's it. This is how it's made, okay? And it has this buckle at the top so you can buckle it. But what I think is nice if you want to walk and knit is to roll the bag down like this. And then pull your buckle around and hook it and put it on your wrist, and you can open it up and pull your yarn out and knit while you're walking. So I really like it. And this is waxed canvas, and then this is like a herringbone tweedy fabric. I don't know. I really like it so far though. I'll give y'all an update after I have used it for a little bit longer, but so far I love it. Anyway, back to the actual project. So I am making the Ribblesdale vest, which is a brioche vest. And I am very concerned about the size on this. This is a vest that I do not want to be super big. I definitely want the ribbing to set snug against my waist. It's gonna be cropped because I will mainly wear it with dresses, high-waisted pants, things like that, skirts, but probably mainly over a dress. And I'm using this Ultra Alpaca by Barocco, which is, I think it's 50%, yeah, 50% alpaca, 50% Peruvian wool. I like this a lot. I used it to make a vest last year, this past winter, I think. It is a worsted weight. It is 219 yards for 100 grams. And I thought this green was absolutely gorgeous. It's this emerald green, but it has blue in it too somehow. I just really love it. But alpaca does tend to grow a lot. The fact that it has the 50% wool content will help it to keep its shape, but still got 50% alpaca, so it does tend to grow in my experience. So I'm back and forth. I cast it on my size because it is going to be mainly over my bust. So I went ahead and went with my size, but we will see. If I need to rip back, I will, because I don't want to knit this vest and then it not fit and me not ever wear it, because this is actually a product knit. I want the finished item and I want to make sure that it fits me right. And the gauge swatch isn't telling me that much, because to me this is something that, you know, once it is finished and it's on and you're wearing it, brioche tends to grow a lot that way, and I just can't replicate that with a swatch. So we will see. I'm going with it though. I may just make it a little bit more cropped than it calls for, and then pull some length out of it. I think it will grow more lengthwise than widthwise. I hope so anyway. As you can see, I've made very little progress on it. I've just done the tubular cast on, and I've worked like 1/2 inch of rib. So I will work on that when I can. It doesn't have a deadline, so I'm trying to finish up my knit along and test knits first. We'll see how that goes. But I think it's a really pretty pattern, and I am excited to find some really pretty buttons to go with it. I think I've got some buttons that are like this really cool tortoise shell buttons, so maybe those will work. So that's all the projects I'm going to show you today. I probably have another 10 project bags full of whips, but we're not even going to go down that road right now. Upcoming, I have the MCAL, so I need to finish a couple things before then, which starts October 6th. I would love to be completely done with my Sari test knit, and by completely done I mean the raglan increases and the one sleeve, which means I only need one sleeve to be done with that. So I want to at least be at that point on that sweater by October 6th. So I think I'm gonna knit on my Alpine Glow sweater for a minute, and maybe we can knit and chat together for a second.
Riding out the waves, all the ebbs and flows used to bring me down. I'm stronger now, used to toss me about. I'm wiser now, feel the tide coming, know the feeling now, used to lose my ground. I'm wiser now, used to toss me about. I'm wiser now.
this last month on the farm. It was the last cutting of hay for the year. I always love looking out in the field and just seeing hay bales as far as you can see. It always makes me happy. But if y'all remember from last year, the great mousecapade of 2021, I was also extremely terrified for the fall hay to be cut. Because last year, when the hay was cut, we had a couple of mice run in from the fields, run into our garage, and take up residence in my car. Feel free to watch the episodes from last year for a full recap. But yes, war then ensued. I have literal PTSD. Every time I get in my car, I just look everywhere for any traces of a mouse. But before the hay was cut, I took some preemptive action. I walked around the entire garage looking for any holes where a mouse might could get in. Last year, they chewed a hole in the rubber where a garage door is so that they could get inside. That has been taken care of. Those sticky traps have been placed all over the garage and my car just to make sure. And I have been very vigilant. We have been on high alert for any invading mice. Is that even a word? I'm not sure. But I am definitely not a catastrophizer. So far so good, but I don't want to speak too soon. I have kind of been looking for some new things to watch, and Hulu kept recommending Body of Proof for me. And that's a show from quite a few years back. What is it, like 2010 or something like that? It's about a medical examiner who used to be the top neurosurgeon in her field, but she had an accident and she started experiencing paresthesis and numbness in her hands, which a lot of us knitters can relate to. So anyway, now she is a medical examiner and very good at her job. And I've actually been binge watching it and enjoying it. There's only 3 seasons. I'm on season 2 and it's been pretty good. I'm also very excited to make some pear preserves. Those are my absolute favorite type of jelly jam preserves. My mom makes them every year and she makes them so good. So this year I've got a bucket of pears. So we do have some pear trees, but they're not old enough to produce much yet. But my father-in-law has a very old pear tree that produces massive amounts of pears, and he lives on the hill right next to ours. So I was able to get a bucket full of those pears that are really good for preserves. So I'm going to get busy making those this week. I'm excited. Pear preserves are a lot of work and a lot of sugar, but they are so good. All right, thank y'all so much for hanging out with me today. I do have a lot of chores lined up for me, so I need to get busy on that. But if you enjoy my videos, then please don't forget to subscribe and like. Doing those things helps my channel out so much and helps me to continue creating video content. Also, I want to say I love and appreciate everyone's comments. They're always so kind and helpful, and a lot of times I learn new things and techniques that I did not know before. So thank you to the wonderful making community that I have connected with on YouTube. I'm looking forward to visiting with y'all again soon, and until then, happy knitting.